I don't know where else to put this information. The newspaper reporters just laughed. Everyone I know just said I was trying to troll them. On internet forums, people just said I was crazy. Then the post got deleted by an anonymous user. Most things here are, of course, fake. Just stories. Some aren't. If you read this, do so with an open mind. I was walking home from school. It had just snowed, and the roads were icy. So much so that a car had skidded out and crashed. The police had blocked up the entire street, which just so happened to be the one I needed to go down. It wasn't too much of a problem though, because I could just take the slightly longer route through the park. The park is right next to a huge mountain. Because the town was formed around a mine, there were countless caves and tunnels running throughout said mountain. Most of the known caves had homeless people living in them. Kids often dared each other to go in and write their names on the walls. As I was walking past some bushes, a strong breeze swept across me. Unbeknownst to me, my backpack was partially open, and the wind blew some papers out of it and into the bushes. Cursing my absent-mindedness, I followed. I forced my way through the foliage until I came up against the cliff face without finding the lost papers. I pushed some of the plants aside trying to find them, and came across a small cave entrance. At first I was hesitant to go in, worried that someone who lived in there might get mad at me. But I quickly realized that no one had been near it for a very long time. The bushes showed no sign of being trampled before I walked through them. Papers forgotten, I decided to explore the cave. As it was winter time, I had a flashlight in my pack because it was dark so much. Stepping inside the cave, the first thing I noticed was the smell. It was like a mix between sulfur and the gunpowder smell you get right after you shoot a gun. The second thing I noticed was how warm it was. It almost felt like a warm breeze was coming up from whatever deeper extensions there were. That's when I noticed the giant pit right in the middle. The rest of the cave slopped down towards it, and as I shined my flashlight down, I saw nothing but blackness. What was even more disturbing, though, was the shape. The pit was a perfect circle, and as I looked around I saw that the cave was too. I knew that the equipment used to make the mining caves was far too erratic to produce such a perfect geometric shape, and the chances that it could happen naturally were minuscule. As I shone my flashlight down again, it slipped from my hand, falling into the depths. On its way down, it smashed against a wall and went out. With the flashlight's beam gone, I could make out a faint reddish glow coming from the pit that the flashlight had previously masked. Trying to get a better look, my foot slipped and I pitched forwards into the void. When I woke up, I was in complete darkness. My head throbbed horribly, and I was bruised all over. Getting up, I felt out my surroundings. I was in a circular room, with a tunnel going farther down on one side. Feeling the walls, I realized that there was something even stranger. The stone was perfectly smooth now. I looked back up from where I had fallen, but couldn't make out any light from above. I wasn't sure how far I had fallen, or how I was still alive. Thinking about light, I suddenly realized that the glow I had seen from above wasn't present. Had I imagined it? Unsettled, I tried to figure out what to do. Judging by how well the cave entrance was camouflaged, no one would notice it when they came looking for me. The walls were too smooth to climb. It seemed that continuing down the other tunnel was the only way to go. It might eventually lead back up to the surface. I walked along the tunnel for what seemed like hours, going steadily deeper underground. Finally, I saw the same reddish glow that I had seen from the surface far ahead. As soon as I saw it, it began to move away from me. Breaking into a run, I tried to catch up with it. Light, any light, had to be better than this darkness. Sure enough, it started getting closer and closer, until without warning I broke into an enormous underground cavern. The floor angled gently up and then sharply down. In the center, a huge rock that had the same reddish glow right in the center. Looking around, I realized that the cave had a very unusual shape. In fact, it looked almost like a crater that had been walled off by stone. Looking closer at the rock in the center, I noticed that it was of a very different texture than the surrounding walls and floor. But how could a meteor be this far down? Could it have landed in the Earth's early days and somehow gotten buried? And the even more pressing question, what was causing the glow? I felt a sudden fear of the rock, and felt almost as if it was alive. Curiosity overcame my trepidation, and I approached it. I reached out to touch its surface, but yanked my hand away almost immediately. The rock was extremely hot. Walking around it, I noticed a small hole in the side. Peering in, I got a glimpse of the core. It was glowing even more brightly. Then, something slammed into me, and I lost consciousness. I woke up in the hospital with moderate burns and several fractured limbs. The nurse said that I was found lying in the bushes at the park, just outside of a collapsed cave. When I told them my story, they said that it was impossible. The cave had been sealed by thousands of pounds of rock, and that because my legs were badly fractured, I could never have walked that far. They thought that someone had mugged me and knocked me out before I could react. They said that my story was just a dream, but I know that it couldn't be, because when I looked inside that meteor, I didn't just see stone on the inside. There were the things clinging to it, sleeping, except for the one that had woken up early, the one that dug its way up to the surface, the one whose glow I had seen, the one that knocked me out in the cave, that dragged me back up outside, that covered up the cave to avoid detection. It tried to lay its eggs inside of me too, did in fact, but the doctor saw them on the x-ray. He operated, removed them, just before he fell and hit his head on the operating table. He died. They threw the eggs away, not knowing what they were. Now there's no proof. No proof that those things are lurking down in the depths, digging their way up, undermining our planet as we think our greatest threat is each other. Because that wasn't the only meteor. They're everywhere. Underground, all over the world. And their occupants are waking up,